Welcome, deep divers. Today we're taking a deep dive into the legend of a horse nicknamed Emperor after his undefeated father.
Yeah, but then he earned this other name too, the Miracle Horse.
Exactly. Get ready for a story that, honestly, it kind of redefines resilience, determination, defying the odds, all that.
It really does.
Our mission, to dig into the surprising details, the profound lessons from the amazing journey of Tokai Teio. He's this Japanese racehorse whose career was just this incredible mix of sheer brilliance, devastating setbacks, and then these absolutely astonishing comebacks.
That's right. Our sources, they paint such a vivid picture. You really get a sense of the sheer will, the spirit that defined him. From, almost unbelievable beginnings right up to his record-breaking wins.
And speaking of beginnings, well, every champion's story kind of starts with their bloodline, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And his sire was Symboli Rudolf, famously known as the Emperor.
Right. The 7-crown winner, undefeated in his own career. That's quite a shadow for any horse to be born under.
It's a huge shadow. But what's really interesting, maybe even kind of strange about Teio's lineage, is his dam Tokai natural.
Okay.
She was a half-sister to an Oaks winner, so there was a pedigree there, but she couldn't race herself. Had persistent leg issues.
Oh, wow.
And even more surprising, she was basically a substitute for the mating with Rudolf.
A substitute.
Yeah, the first choice was her sister, Tokai Roman, another good racer. But Roman kept racing for another year, so Natural got the spot instead.
So wait, a champion sire, but a dam who couldn't even race and who was herself the backup plan expert? How often does that happen? A top horse from such an unexpected pairing, especially with the father being this perfect legend. Does that make Teio's story even more remarkable?
Oh, absolutely. It definitely adds another layer, It just highlights that talent can pop up from the most unforeseen places.
Right.
And talking about unforeseen, when this colt was born, April 20, 1988, named Hamano Teio, at first he didn't exactly scream future champion.
Yeah.
Not really. Sources say he had, long legs, a slender build. One even says he did not look very good. So, yeah, he wasn't highly rated right out of the gate.
Huh. So not exactly love at first sight for the racing world. But, okay, this is where it gets interesting, right? Despite those kind of unpromising first looks, his real potential started showing up in training.
Exactly. He showed very flexible movements, apparently, and this really strong fighting spirit. And his body, which seemed kind of weak at birth, it surprisingly improved.
So what was it? What started changing people's minds about him?
It was just this natural ability, the feel he gave the rider. The assistant trainer, Kitaguchi Hiroyuki, was apparently blown away. He reportedly grabbed other staff, you got to ride this horse. There's no horse as soft as this.
Wow.
Even the farrier, Kakimoto Junji, just from working on his hooves, he saw something. He predicted, here comes the Derby horse.
Just like that.
Just like that. And the main trainer, Matsumoto Shoichi, despite how Teio looked initially, he soon had high expectations. Started planning this relaxed path towards the classic races for him.
A relaxed path, okay. And that path started December 1st, 1990, his debut. They picked a left-handed course specifically to prep him for the Derby later on.
Right. And the jockey, Yasuda Takayuki, who had ridden him in training and felt that potential, he actually volunteered for the ride.
So what did we see in that first race? Did he live up to those early whispers?
Oh, he didn't just live up to them. He completely dominated. Won by 4 lengths.
4 lengths.
Yeah. Jockey Yasuda was thrilled. Said something like, I had plenty of room. It was an easy win. From that moment, really, his rise was just flawless.
And he just kept winning after that, didn't he? Consecutive wins in the Cyclamen Stakes, then the Wakakoma Stakes.
Yasuda apparently gained clear confidence Teio could compete in big places. He quickly became this, strong candidate for the classics, a really talented first-year kid for Symboli Rudolf.
And the Wakaba Stakes, that really cemented it.
Oh, yeah. He got the highest betting support of his entire career in that race, 66.28%. And get this. He won without the jockey even using the whip once.
Seriously. No whip.
Not needed. It was a huge sign he was totally ready for the big classic races.
Okay, so then comes the Satsuki Show Japan's 2000 guineas equivalent, his first classic. And he drew wide, right? Gate 18. That's usually a disadvantage.
Big disadvantage, but he still won. By length. And Yasuda, famously, held up his index finger in the winner's circle.
Proclaiming.
A Triple Crown win. The dream was definitely alive.
And the media must have jumped all over that.
Oh, totally. Heading into the Tokyo Yushin, the Japanese Derby, his win was pretty much treated as a fait accompli. It was just expected.
Wow.
He got overwhelming support from bettors. Odds were just 1.6 to 1, and he delivered. Won by 3 lengths. became the 15th horse to win that Double Crown Satsuki Show and Derby, and just like his dad, still undefeated.
Amazing. Yasuda must have been ecstatic.
Bursting with pride, apparently. He declared, I think Teio won the Derby in a stronger way than Symboli Rudolf. High praise.
Stronger than the emperor himself. So the dream of an undefeated Triple Crown, just like his legendary father, it seemed totally within reach. But then, the crushing blow. Expert, what happened right after that amazing Derby win?
Yeah, just days later.
Yeah.
Disaster. A fracture was found in his left hind leg.
Oh, no.
It was huge news. NHK, the national broadcaster, reported it as general news, not just sports. That tells you how big a deal it was.
Yeah.
Just devastating for the whole team.
For a horse who'd looked unstoppable, on track to maybe even surpass his father, how big a setback is something like that? Does it often just end a top horse's career right there? And what about the mental side for the team, maybe even for the horse? Yasuda said he felt like he'd been thrown from heaven to hell.
It's an absolute massive setback. For many horses, yeah, that would be career-ending. Especially for one who pushed so hard so early. The emotional toll on the team watching that dream just shatter, it's immense. As for Teio himself, well, we can't know what he thought, obviously. But what we do know is, even though he missed the Kikuka show, the final Triple Crown leg, his undefeated Double Crown performance was still incredibly highly rated.
So they still recognized his brilliance.
Oh, yeah. He was selected as Horse of the Year and Best 4-Year-Old Colt at the JRA Awards.
Yeah.
That's a huge testament to what he'd already shown, even with the season cut short. He'd proven his quality.
So, Horse of the Year despite the injury. But okay, the real story, maybe the legend, starts after that year off. Expert. How did Tokai Teio handle his comeback? April 1992, after, 315 days off the track? And a new jockey, too.
Yeah, a new jockey, Okabe Yukio. And interestingly, Okabe was Symboli Rudolf's main rider, so that added another layer of expectation.
Sure.
April 5th, 1992,
Yeah.
the Sankei Osaka High, he just won, easily. Okabe didn't even touch him with a whip. It was this flawless return. It really started the whispers, The Miracle Horse could actually live up to that name.
And that win sets up this huge race, billed as the confrontation of the century. Tokai Teio versus Majuro McQueen in the Tenno Show Spring.
Right. And McQueen was a champion stayer, a real specialist at long distances. This race was 3,200 meters, a serious challenge for Teio, who was more of a middle-distance horse, really.
His trainer even admitted they were the challengers.
Yeah, Matsumoto said, we are just the challengers.
Yeah.
Okabe, Teio's jockey, commented that Teio seems like he can run to the ends of the earth. But then McQueen's jockey, the famous Tekutaka, had that great retort.
What was it again?
He said, if that's the end of the earth, this one will reach the heavens. Great line.
Love that. So what happened in the race? Did Teio reach the end of the earth?
Well, the heavens weren't for Teio that day, unfortunately. He finished 5th, his first ever defeat. And the team had different ideas why. Matsumoto blamed the barrier of distance. Okabe thought Teio just got exhausted. The assistant trainer pointed to the rough ground. In your view, was it maybe a bit of everything, or did one thing really stand out?
It sounds like maybe a perfect storm of challenges, really. Especially that distance being perhaps just a bit too far for him. And then, expert, unbelievably, just 10 days later, another setback.
Yes. Incredibly, a second fracture was discovered, this time in his right front leg.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So he spent the rest of the spring season recovering again. Then, after recuperating, they aimed for the Tenno Show Autumn, but his preparation got messed up by a fever. He ended up running without enough training.
Not ideal.
Not at all. Matsumoto sounded worried, saying something like, it was like we were fighting our backs.
Yeah.
And Teio finished 7th in what was described as a murderous high-pace race.
So, okay, 2 injuries now, a couple of losses, including his first ever defeat.
Yeah.
The critics must have been sharpening their knives.
Oh, definitely. People started saying Tokai Teio was over, that his earlier wins maybe came against weaker horses.
In that world, the high-stakes racing world, what's the usual feeling when a horse that was so dominant hits a slump like this? And how did Teio's team approach the Japan Cup with all that pressure and those doubts swirling?
Yeah, the racing world can be pretty brutal. Once a champ shows weakness, the skepticism, it just grows really fast. The conventional wisdom was probably, his best days are gone.
Right.
But this is exactly where Tokai Teio just blows that conventional wisdom out of the water. The 1992 Japan Cup, now an international Grade 1 race, a top global competition.
The best from everywhere.
Exactly. Teio faced what they called the strongest in history of racing lineup. Champions from all over. And Teio, he was only the 5th favorite. His odds were the longest of his career, 10-point never.
But he won by a neck, right, in this fierce battle, became the first Japanese horse to win an international Grade 1 race on home soil.
He did. And Okabe, who's usually super calm, apparently gave this rare fist pump. It was just this incredible turnaround, a genuine miracle after all the doubt and setbacks.
Just amazing. But the roller coaster wasn't over, was it?
Not even close. Despite being voted #1 by fans for the big end-of-year race, the Arima Kinen, his jockey Okabe, got suspended.
Oh, no.
So Tahara Naruki rode him instead. But Taihao finished 11th, his worst ever result.
What happened?
Well, later it came out he'd been given a laxative for parasites just before the race, which couldn't have helped. And there may be other issues too, like a hip injury mentioned. Just another down after such a massive up.
Unbelievable. Okay, we've heard about 2 fractures. Then in 93, he gets a 3rd fracture. And later that same year, a 4th one. Expert. Seriously, how many horses even get a second chance after 1 fracture, let alone 4, heading towards 5? It almost defies logic.
It really, really does.
They even talked about retiring him to stud then, didn't they, because of all the injuries? But somehow he stayed in training. It's just astonishing resilience.
Extraordinary resilience. You almost start to think his will was stronger than his bones, you know? After that 4th fracture, he faced another long layoff, a full year. His comeback race in 1993 was, yet again, the Arima Kinen, his first race in exactly 364 days.
A year off. Incredible. And Okabe, his usual rider, had another commitment.
Yep. So Tahara Naruki, who rode him in that disappointing Arima Kinen the year before, was back on board. The odds were stacked incredibly high against him.
And there's this captivating detail about the pre-race atmosphere. Tahara said Teio felt unusually calm.
Yeah, and the commentator, Keijiro Okaa, described Teio's warm-up as being full of joy. He said he felt like Teio was immersed in the supreme joy of being able to run in a race as a thoroughbred. Okawa even said later, "The feeling I got at that time was something I had never felt before."
Wow. What do you think created that feeling, that profound impression on people watching him warm up?
It's hard to say for sure, isn't it? But maybe it was like, Teio himself knew this was it. His chance to prove everyone wrong, defy the odds, defy even medical common sense.
And that feeling turned out to be right.
Absolutely. It was a field of 14 horses. 8 of them were Grade 1 winners already, a stacked field. Teio was only the 4th favorite.
And the race.
He waited patiently near the back, then made this powerful move from the 3rd corner. Down the final straight, he chased down the leader, Biwahayahide, and just nailed him by half a length right before the finish line. The crowd went absolutely insane.
And the commentary calls became legendary, right? Tokai Teio has come back to life.
Exactly. And Tokai Teio, a miraculous comeback. Tahara, the jockey, was visibly in tears in the post-race interview. He said, "This victory is a victory for Tokai Teio, who overturned the common sense of Japanese horse racing. Please praise him." Just stunning.
Goosebumps. Utterly stunning.
It was a moment for the ages. That Grade 1 win after a 363-day break from racing, it set a record for the longest layoff before a G1 win that still stands today. Unbroken.
Incredible. And he got special recognition for that.
He did receive the JRA Award Special Award, acknowledging just how impossible that feat really was.
But the injury curse, it wasn't quite done with him, was it?
Sadly, no. In 1994, preparing for another season, he suffered a 5th fracture. Left forearm. Same area as a previous injury, too.
Oh, man. 5 fractures.
Yeah. That was finally it. His retirement was officially announced in August 94.
So after such a dramatic, up-and-down, legendary career, how was his farewell celebrated?
It was incredible. His retirement ceremony at Tokyo Racecourse on October 23rd, it drew an astonishing number of fans. 106,179 people.
Wow. For a retirement ceremony.
Yes. More people than attended a major race there the previous week. It just showed this huge outpouring of affection and respect. And all 3 main jockeys, Tahara, Yasuda, and Okabe, they were all there. A real testament to his impact on the sport, on the fans.
What a story. Tokai Teio, inheriting this legendary name, Emperor, but truly forging his own completely unique legacy. All that talent, but mixed with just unbelievable ability to recover. 5 career-threatening fractures.
5.
Only to come back and win on the absolute biggest stages again and again. He just kept defying what everyone thought was possible.
So thinking about this, what does it all mean for you, our listener? Tokai Teio's journey, it really reminds us that true greatness isn't just about raw talent showing up perfectly or having this flawless, uninterrupted run.
Right, it's so much more.
It's about resilience, isn't it?
Yeah.
That ability to bounce back from adversity, not just once, but again and again. And that sheer will to just keep going, keep striving, even when the odds and literally your own body seem completely stacked against you.
His story really challenges our whole definition of what's possible, not just in horse racing, obviously, but in pretty much any pursuit where you've got passion and perseverance hitting these seemingly impossible walls.
Absolutely.
So think about this. That miraculous Arima Kinen win, coming back after almost a whole year off, after multiple devastating injuries, it just flew in the face of medical common sense, the expectations of even the people closest to him. It's just this incredible testament to an unbreakable spirit.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, what seemingly impossible comebacks in our own lives or maybe in our work or our goals might actually be closer than we think. If we dare to question those perceived limits and really embrace the belief that the common sense of today, well, maybe it can be overturned by the miracle of sheer determination tomorrow.